Well, there it is.
Yeah, there it is. It's dark, it's wet, it's cold. And we just got to go and get on with it. It doesn't get any easier, this job. There is nothing worse than getting into a cold transit. I should have started it up first this morning.
This is her family's game. She says also I have 2 children.
Details have emerged about a gathering at Downing Street on December.
Just in Jewson's this morning now, getting our sand. The van isn't a huge mess, but I've boarded it, but I haven't decided what shelving I'm going to put on the back there and to the side here, and how I'm going to stack it. I just can't make my mind up. I don't know. It's a bit of a pain, to be honest. But anyway, now we're going to Top Towers because I've got to get some 4mm spacers. Ah, was that going then?
I don't know. Did you forget to record it again?
Yeah, I forgot to record it. Let's go again. He's got about my trowel. No, we've got about the trowel, and that's not a big trowel, is it? You've got to take that.
No, it's 11 and a half, I think. Yeah.
There's that gentleman there. I have to go and see him and say, because that's the neighbour there, make sure that we are not annoyed. So what we were saying then, I've had a shave today, have you noticed?
I didn't actually until now.
Well, it wasn't just bum fluff. Anyway, we were just saying that, like, we got a shared driveway here, and the neighbour is so important. I seen him then, and we seen his wife the other day, and she was fine. Do you know, over the years, you can speak to one partner, whether it's the wife or the husband, and they'll be absolutely fine about something,
and the other one isn't.
Yeah, and they kick off, and then it's not good. Anyway, we were talking about trowels, and we were talking about I bought a new one of these because I left the tools behind, and we got some self-leveling systems this morning. I never use them because I don't feel as if I need them, but you know, we'll have a go in it. You know, and
try it.
Yeah, yeah, they're fine. We'll use it. It's alright. We'll leave that on there. That's right. So if you lean this way a little bit. No, we were saying. Ryan was saying. What were you saying? Get in the camera a little bit.
All right, I am in the camera. Obviously, I've got the Ox version of that, and there's I can't remember how much the Ox one was, but I think there is a big price difference between the Marshallton and the Ox. And I was just wondering, like, you know, is there much difference between the two to justify paying the extra? I know there's not a great deal because it's only a trial. It's not like you're paying hundreds, but you know,
well,
between the two of them.
And that's what we were saying. I think everybody will always have a preference, won't they?
Yeah.
You know, and how much do we know about the tools that we're actually using? Like, you know, this is, so years ago they used to have like the wooden. Do you remember they used to have like the
wooden handles?
Like, yeah, they look like they look like stripes around them, like the band.
Oh, are you talking about the leather ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Yeah, and
they still do that.
Yeah, I know, but this is a Marshalltown. It's like the rubber handle. I think that works, and it's also, we're talking about length
and girth.
And girth. No, seriously, right? Is that everybody will have an opinion when they hear the name Marshalltown, they'll think of it like Ferrari.
Yeah.
You know,
stock brand, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And Marshalltown, without a doubt, are good. When I look at that trowel, that looks right for me. Like in the size, the shape of it as well. Because some of them seem to be too wide up here. And like years ago, you always wanted like the big trowel, the long level. It had to be the best product, like, you know. But again, it's the person that uses the tools in it that makes the difference.
Yeah.
But as a trowel, I think the defining element really is the steel, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, the steel. Because if you're cutting trowels, and obviously it's not just cutting trowels, cutting bricks, like, you know, and not everybody knows how to cut bricks. Like, I'm not saying I know everything about bricks, but also is the wear and tear, isn't it?
Yeah.
And those are probably those other ones, they're exactly the same. They last absolutely ages.
Your other Marshall
Yeah, it was the same as these. And I reckon they were over 15 years.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So it's one of them things. It's hard to gauge between like good quality trowels, what's better than the other. I know you can tell with the cheap ones, like, but
yeah. But what we know now from this video is that, and I don't even intend to be doing this job for another 15 years. I couldn't do it; it'll kill me. But from this video now, the date, we'll have a look now in maybe a year's time and have a look. You know, and that's the testimony in it is how long it lasts.
yeah.
Really,
Well, you know that one's going to last a long time. It's whether the ox one stands up to that.
do you want one of these?
Well, I would never say
Would you like
no
one
to
for
any.
Christmas?
Well, enough levels. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I should keep the ox one just to put them always up against each other and see.
Do you reckon that's the date, 1911, from when they started? Or that'd be interesting. When did Marshall Town?
It probably is.
Yeah,
Check it out.
we'll check that out. Anyway, we got some porcelain today, haven't we?
Yeah.
Big ones, 1.2 by 600. We're going to show you in this video. Don't forget, mind, subscribe to the channel if you've enjoyed it. This clip has been going on for 3 minutes 36, and we're just waffling on about a load of rubbish. Well, it's not rubbish, is it? It's content, isn't it? Right, seriously. I've always thought about these YouTube videos and what I'm doing, and quality of content is important, but also the quality of the imagery and the videography is important. But it's so difficult when you're on these jobs, you know.
Oh, what, to take
Yeah.
the video and stuff? Yeah.
I bought that little Sony ZV, right, little vlogging camera. I've had it over a year now, and I haven't used. Well, I've used it a couple of times around the house. And that's it, because I won't use it on site.
to get the use.
Yeah, because it's got like the little built-in microphone,
Yeah.
and it's like a little small fluffy caterpillar. You know, the old microphones. You know, for the wind
Yeah,
break,
yeah.
like, you know. But I just worry about that getting soaking wet and getting cement in it, like, you know.
It's a danger, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and the dust and everything. Right, we got to get on. Here we are, dry leaning. We've got some of the slabs just dry laid out just to see what they look like for the customer, and we just got to get that out today. I've just phoned them, and we're going to start laying this morning. This is our easy prime from Aspects, perfect for priming the back of your slab. Take string line. Let's use the blue, shall we? We're looking for 158. Okay, there we are. We've got a height where we want to go to, and then we have. So let's just explain it. So this is going to represent the edge of our slab, and then we've got a 50mm picture frame, and then we have a 100mm picture frame.
Yeah.
Well, what we're doing here now, we've got to get the digger out today. They're going to come and pick the digger up, and we've got to make sure that we keep the correct space to get the digger out. So we're going to start laying over this side a little bit, but we've got to make sure that we're start running right. So we've measured what we're looking for here now, and we're not saying this is necessarily square, but what it does is it allows us to create the space that's needed. The other thing that I wanted to point out, right, if you come over here now.
Yeah.
So what we've decided on this job, we're going to start with the first whole slab here, and we've got our picture frame, and we're going to work that way, and it falls out for the last cut on that row. It'll be an 800 mil, so it's quite a big one. So then the next half size will be like 400. So it's going to be a half bond all the way through, if this sort of makes sense. But what we didn't want to do is we didn't want to start from the centre and work out, because it would have meant a smaller cut on here. And this configuration going around here, we've got to deal with the pipe. We've got to deal with the brickwork. There's like extra brickwork at the bottom of here. You're not going from the house. you've got it here, that comes out, and then you've obviously got this edge and curve here, and we don't know whether the garage is running square. So what we've decided to do, we're going to start with one old slab, work from here, and let the cuts fall in on that side. It's a little bit like tiling the kitchen floor, isn't it, really?
Just a bit.
Well, I'm using the Easy Prime from Aspects this morning, and some people say you push them a lot. Well, it works for me, and I think it's a good product, and I think it just works. So basically, the Easy Prime comes with 3 5-kilogram bags. There we are. The point I was going to say this morning is that there's been a real push on some of these forums the other night about standards and British standards that they say they like to. The new British standard is that apparently, this is what they're saying, that you should be using a manufactured product. Now, I've always said that you should use a manufactured product, not that you can't use a your own made-up product with SPR and everything. I just always little bit worried about when you're mixing your own up, about getting it right and ensuring it, because you've got to remember this is being produced by chemists, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
It's in factory conditions. There's a lot of research and development gone into this to produce it. I'm not saying you can't use your own, and I've mixed up my own many times. But I think the point about all of it is accountability.
Goes further as well and lasts longer once you've made it, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, totally.
What are you doing now, John?
Well, I've come up with this theory that obviously we're in winter conditions now. See it, so winter conditions. We got to think about belt and braces and making sure that. And some people are going to say that it's probably excessive, but normally what I would do when we've got a lee mix down, as you pointed out this morning, we would tip some SPR water down over the top. And what the SPR does on the lee mix, it stops the lee mix sucking all the moisture out of the mortar, and that's when you get rapid drying time, rapid evaporation, and that's when you get the delamination from the mortar from your sub base, and the sub base being the lee mix in this case, if that makes sense. But what we've done this morning, well, it's not freezing anyway. It's not, the temperature's not below.
That's mild,
is it?
isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's quite mild, but nevertheless, we want to make sure that this is right instead of just using an SPR. So what we're doing this morning is we're putting, just like you put like a self-leveling compound, but that's for self-leveling, but that self-leveling compound on the floor would actually stick, wouldn't it? It bonds, it bonds to the base. And the same with these priming slurries, they are a bridge bond. So what we're doing is we're putting, as we lay our slabs now, we're putting a very watered down slurry along the top to ensure that the mortar sticks to the lee mix, not just sticking the slab to the mortar, but also the mortar sticking to the base. Does that make sense?
Does to me, yeah.
Cheers, mate.
Right. Yeah, go and get straight into it. Just say what you say. So so you're using
Like a screed mix.
a screen mix.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how long does that take to mix? That's a whole barrel load. How long is that taking?
Oh, it's 2 minutes and then it's quick.
Yeah, quicker than the mixer.
Yeah, way quicker. It's easier than that.
So why would we put that in the mixer?
Well, like this, because you get that segregation where you get like the cement and you get the sand and it's little bubbles and it just doesn't mix.
It's like neat cement, isn't it?
Yeah, it just doesn't mix properly and it doesn't, it's just not a good mix really.
And the benefits, I suppose, of this is that
Well,
a really good mortar.
it's good, it's well mixed. And for me personally, the biggest bonus of this is it's just so easy to work with.
Yeah, and there's not much water. That's the thing that I was trying to say, is that it's the water that causes the problem. The water freezes, it evaporates. So it freezes, it evaporates, and also what it actually does is that depending on the water where you come from, your area, is when you go to do the grouting, is that this can have an effect on your grouting because of the mineral deposits that come out the water.
That's it. And
Out the mortar, rather.
To be fair, some people just throw too much water in and don't realise what the sand actually has in it.
Yeah.
So
I really appreciate that. That was really good information. But can we have an action shot of you actually working?
an action shot,
Yeah, here we go.
yeah.
There he goes. Watch us now.
Okay.
The Irishman now. Look at that. Look at the mix. Look at the action. Almost like Rambo of the landscaping world. So come on, what we just talked about.
Right, so we've dry laid this now, just to make sure that we've got the right heights and the bed's right for it. because the last thing we want to do is take it up and it's got full of you know, we've got our priming slurry underneath.
Yeah.
It's a bit messy, it's a bit awkward.
So we want to make sure the bed is nice and flat.
Yeah.
So when we lift that up now,
It's clean, it's easy, and then we put that slab that we've already slurried up down if the bed's right.
if the bed's right,
Yeah.
and we can adjust it
Yeah,
accordingly.
and if not, then we can adjust this very easily, and it's not full of priming slurry where it's lifted half of the bed up with it.
What do you say to those people who say that you're wasting your time? You should get the bed right straight away and lay just once.
Well,
They gotta be
I'd
good,
love
haven't
to
they?
see people who do it just once every time and get it right, because I know lots of landscapers that have to do this multiple times. I mean,
And we're just ensuring that the bed, there's no voids underneath, because if you've got voids, that's where water's going to
yeah,
accumulate,
that's
isn't
you,
it?
You want it right, and you know it doesn't. You know, to double check things isn't a bad thing. It's a good thing.
So the next question, do you think you're strong enough to lift that by yourself so I can show our viewers in this video to see what the bed's like? We can adjust it and see the benefits of it. Look at those muscles, those pecs. Here he goes. Well, there you are. So you can see there where the slab is touching, can't you?
Yeah.
All right, there and there. That is where it's not touching. So now we can adjust the height accordingly to that. So when we bed in, we can have a full bed underneath. And that's not bad, because it hasn't been tapped down yet, is it?
No, it's pretty good to be fair, considering it was just sat on it.
But we want it to go down nice and even, don't we?
Yeah, so it's nearly there.
Talking. Well, there we are. So, look, some people think that it's a bit excessive what we're doing, and we're doing it because people will learn from it. It may not necessarily be the way that they want. One thing that I had quite a deep discussion about this many years ago was what constitutes a full lay-in bed, and I was told by a guy at Marshall's, he said, as long as the slab is fully supported. But you've got to remember, you do want to fill those voids up, you know. You are going to get moisture in your mortar, okay, but you don't want puddles of it hanging underneath, because that's what's going to freeze. Hey, Roy.
Yeah.
Some people say that this is a bit excessive.
Well, maybe, but you know, it's one of them things. So maybe if it is a bit overkill, it's not going to hurt it, is it? It's only going to do better. So it's when you like.
It's investment, isn't it?
Well, over-engineering is better than under-engineering, isn't it? There's no harm
Thank you.
making it better.
Absolutely. 100%.